Hello everyone, welcome to new video. Today I'm going to talk about why life is meaningless. I was thinking about this issue for a long time and I still couldn't find an answer. But I still continue to think about it even I couldn't find an answer. The issue is just trying to find an answer or trying to create a new meaning. It is something like not a piece of cake. That's the reason why I'm here. I'm just going to talk about this issue. I'm just committing a job, just going and coming, getting on a bus, and trying to catch up the time hours. And there's rush hours here, but still, I'm just trying to develop myself, even it's not enough. Whenever I'm checking to people on the Instagram, on the social media, they have a luxury life, they have private jets, and they can travel around the world. It is something like an NY feeling, right? Nobody wants to just think here, just taking to YouTube videos like in a topic like philosophical way. Nobody wants to just create philosophical videos, right? Exactly. But I'm just going to continue this issue even for a long time till I can get bored of it. But mostly just observing the people, just getting jealous of them, it doesn't give you any meaning at any time. If you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, and you can go anywhere else, and it is your occupation is valid everywhere else. But here I'm just working as an officer, but this job is not for me. I have always wanted to be on a DG and just travel around the world, just get to enjoy. But here in Turkey, there is no meaning. The wars are happening. People are starving here. There's a low level of wage. Even I have always wanted to just immigrate to Canada, but it didn't happen. Therefore, I feel myself very unfortunate destiny. I have an unfortunate destiny here, and nobody is supporting me. Therefore, this idea is really disgusting. You need to do things alone, and even nobody is going to come up and help you. These feelings makes me really get into a temper. But I get used to this feeling. Mostly, I'm just doing a job which I hate most and trying to be still exist. I have just always dreamed of going to Japan or the more just first-class countries. But I'm living in third-class country. The working hours are very long and there are not class exchange here. People are just getting punished here and nobody can have a lot of free talk. Yes, I'm talking, and mostly some of the fucking xenophobic foreigners came to Turkey and they say the Turkey is a very, very beautiful country, but then they came back their fucking origin countries. Yeah, brother, Turkey is a very beautiful country. Xenophobic, why you don't live in Turkey then? Yeah, this kind of xenophobic mostly I hate from this kind of foreigners. Mostly they are just trying to get more attention. Even in some Facebook page, Turkey is a very good country. They are just boasting to Turkey and they are just prying to Turkey, appreciating, but mostly they are hating. They are doing it for the media and other stuff. Mostly they are just doing a role, which I hate most. I really hate all the role players in my life, in this world, but it didn't happen in one day. Everybody is trying to make a rule. Even they don't like their jobs, they are continuing to do their jobs. Even they don't like their families, they are trying to keep the balance alive. Even they hate from their colleagues and they are trying to make the better environment for them. Maybe we are just wearing a mask like the V for Vendetta. I really like this movie and the things taught us everything. We are trying to survive in this world. Sometimes we need to do the role play, like the starving games. Maybe you can remember this movie for a long time. I'm not remembering it because I didn't watch it again, but it was a very good game. There was a name like starving games. It was a very good experience, brother. So the illusion of meaning the world, meaning we were sold. Mostly we are just creating our own meaning, okay? Maybe you are in a jail. Think yourself in a jail. You need to survive. Even there is no meaning. Maybe you cannot get out from the jail. I feel myself in a jail in Turkey because I cannot go to the abroad, I can go to another countries. I'm just watching the first-class country members. They are enjoying, they are drinking beers, they are going to nightclubs, they are partying. But we are just envying of them. We are just sitting here and they are giving them vaccinating or military songs and they are giving us the nationalist ideas. Okay, I'm going to talk about nationalism. It's a very sucks, brother. If you are just supporting nationalism, you are very stupid. Okay, after the 500 years or the 1000 years later, there won't be any country like name of Turkey or the name of China. Even the Zhou dynasty, even the Qin dynasty, Han dynasty. Do you remember any of them? No, they were just passed away and they are not happy. They are not still exist here. They exiled. the things haven't survived yet. Mostly the countries are also changing, the culture is changing. That's the reason why I'm really against with the cultural pressure and the societal pressure here. Mostly we are just trying to escape the social pressure and societal pressure, and other than the job pressure, there are a bunch of things just coming us with our all entire life. Some people can against with that. Some people can oppose it. Mostly in the Turkey, there's something like conservative culture, and people are judging you from your environment, from your thoughts. Even they can just try to start a battle with you. Therefore, it is better not to talk with them, not to start a battle with them. It is better to create your own community. But the meaning is lost anymore. I have always wanted to go to the first class countries, but just still existing here, just trying to survive. It is not something like a life, brother. I know everybody is suffering, but I don't care. It is my life and my stuffs and my sufferings here. Mostly people are trying to think about the others and they are trying to give a best answer for them, but I think it's really time wasting. Let me explain you why. If you are not a position like you can just take care of yourself, don't try to think others before you take care of yourself. Because if you do that, probably you will be do the bad things for yourself. The first you need to think yourself, then you can think about others. If you don't have money, how you can just think about the others? Even you don't have any house, any job, any girlfriend, any marriage, any child, and you are trying to think about the others. I think it is something like a very utilizing yourself, very misleading yourself. You don't have to mislead yourself. You don't have to think about the others because you need to think about yourself first. You know, you cannot make everyone happy at the first. You need to understand it. And not everyone will be satisfying with your feelings or with your emotions or with your thoughts. After you analyze, after you got this thing, probably your point of view will be changed and you can recreate yourself. Maybe sometimes you can complain about the situation. Sometimes I'm just watching the animes, just trying to live in an isekai, or maybe we can just call it isekai, and trying to be unique. Mostly, if I just think about the world from my point of view, my world is so different. Okay, ask the gods. So, is the shaitan is bad or the devil is bad? So maybe the God going to answer you. The devil is very bad, and he just teaching you how to be a bad man, how to be wicked. But if we think the perspective of a shaitan, or if we think about the perspective of a devil, probably we will understand devil gonna be right, okay? There are two sides always. If you're just going to ask a killer, if you are going to ask a murderer, it's going to not happen. Like if you just ask the situation to killer going to give you some examples why I did this murder example. But if you are just have a chance, just get the murder up, probably the murdered man going to ask you, he was so unright. Mostly we are just trying to blame each other. He was so unright, he was so just misleading us, he is not right, we shouldn't follow him, etc. But mostly we don't just search for the fault in ourselves. Mostly we are searching the fault in others. If we just create reshaping our ideas, reshaping our thinking style, mostly we are gaining more energy and mostly we are going to gain more cosmos. Mostly people trying to against with the cosmos and they are just starting to start a battle with themselves. The battle which we cannot win is the battle with ourselves. Because we cannot win this battle and we won't and we never win this battle to ourselves. Mostly we need to conquer ourselves first and then we can create and conquer others. If someone going to win the battle with themselves or with own self, probably they will be lucky in this life and they will get what the life is going to teach them. But it is the most hardest battle in this world, which is you are just trying to battle with yourself. Exactly. So mostly the achievement answers, what did I do? Meaning answers, why does this matter? Mostly we are just creating the meaning and we are giving a lot of understanding styles and conception to do these things. Why I did this, why he did this to me, why I'm so unlucky, why I'm just suffering here, why some of the other people on the Instagram living a better lives and they travel around the world, maybe they can get better level of quality sex and they can date with a lot of girls, while some of them men cannot do that. Mostly some of the hierarchic pyramid, the top amount of a man, maybe the 100%, maybe 1% out of 100, going to get all the girls, but the 99% of a man going to suffer and they cannot do anything because they don't have any capital, they don't have any resources, and they are going to suffer with all their entire lives. And it is not something like a solution. Mostly we need to break the hierarchy. How we can break the hierarchy? We need to just give more meaning to middle class. If the middle class is die, if the economy is just depends on the worker class or the bottom level of society, maybe subordinate class, mostly the change, the transparency won't be happen there, and there will be paradox in the end, and the rich people going to be richer and poor people going to be poor. It's a very simple of theory here, like the still exists theory, and everything is based on conflict theory. Sometimes they are trying to find an answer and they are trying to create the meaning, but our classes, like the word I mentioned that before, we mostly think about a perspective from our class. Maybe your ethic is different from others, and your ethic is mostly related with your class. If you are just born in a level of bottom class, mostly your ethical analysis is different. If you have born in a rich class, your ethical analysis is different from others. And if you are born in a middle class, you can just create a balance between the bottom and top. So it is better to be a middle class. The middle class mostly just keeping the society alive. That's the reason why we need to support the middle class a lot rather than the other class structures. But if the middle class is die, like especially nowadays, what the government's trying to do that, and even the America is trying to give more meaning to gambling, even they are rejecting it, they are getting more money from the gambling, to Texas, the other Arizona maybe. The Los Angeles, okay, the angels are just missing, okay? Mostly the Charlie's Angels, okay, there are a bunch of movies about it, but if you're just going to think about the Victorian era, mostly the child labor were ethical, but now it's not ethical, right? The era, the time is changing, and mostly our ethical view of the moral is declared by the culture or by the time or by the location. Mostly, if you are living in a more free country like the Japan or just Taiwan or just like Germany, you can give a free action of your behavior or your environment, okay? But if you are living in Turkey, your behaviors are determined as a bit of by the society. Then there's a cultural pressure here, even you're rejected. And mostly people trying to get used to this pressure, and they are thinking like it is normal, and they want to trying to abandon it, and they don't want to abandon it. So it is a very complicated question, and sometimes these circumstances affect us in a very bad shape, but it is better to get used to it and try to understand. Mostly people don't have any chance to go to the other countries. Why? Mostly they are just suffering with financially and economically. And when you're just perspective of American families, let's check them. I was just watching some of the vlogs from America, and they were just suffering. Even they are trying to find a job, it was so complicated because mostly these companies are firing a lot of employees. Why? There's an AI is happening now. AI can manage everything, mostly classical jobs like being a cashier, like being a dishwasher. The AI can also do that. The robots are also can do that. Why we need the human beings for this kind of jobs, the simple jobs? So okay, the simplicity will be just replaced by the AI. So what this kind of people gonna do? We don't know. Mostly we lost the value, and the people became useless anymore. And the AI is saying it is reluctant, and mostly the wars are happening now. Why? Because not of the resources, but of a lot of human beings. Mostly we are just trying to compete for the resources, but some of them can be successful and some of them cannot. Maybe you are working in a fabric and your neck or maybe your belt is going to be crushed, and maybe you're going to suffer from it. But mostly people, some of the people can get the success, and they can out from their 9-to-5 jobs. You know, the most hateful things I can do in my life is just working 9-to-5 job, okay? 9-to-5 job is something like a time wasting, and it is something like a prison. Think about you and compare your station with the prison. Okay, you just have a meal and you are just staying in a someplace, you shouldn't just leave it here, and you need to stick your boss. Maybe you can think about, if you're just a prisoner, you can think about the guardians. The guardians and your boss are the same things, okay? They are just keeping you in a someplace. Why they are yelling at you? Why they don't like you? Because they also didn't want to be a boss, and they also wanted to just go to other countries, but they couldn't go do that. They couldn't create their own business, and mostly the violence is just getting recycled, the violence cycle, okay? The boss is trying to give you more instructions, and they are trying to yell at you. Why? Because you are trying to do the things alone, and you want to break the cycle, and you want to out from the system. But if you do that, probably they're gonna be jealous of you. If you cannot do that, probably you have, in the end, you say yourself, I have tried, at least worth trying, okay? If you don't understand your situation, your position, it's gonna be tough. Mostly, I have always been thinking about the models and the cosplay events, which I couldn't go. You know, in the Taiwan, in the Japan, there are a bunch of cosplay events, but we couldn't do that. In the Turkey, there's the economic pressure, economical crisis, and mostly people just trying to complain about the situation. And even they are complaining about the government, they are trying to select the same government again. And that's the reason why I don't feel myself as Turkish. The Turkish culture is very conservative, and it is something like an illicit, like the Manichaeism is something like similar with here, or the shamanism. In the Turkey, the culture is a very pressuring culture, and it is hard to live with the Turkish people. Why? Mostly they are living in their, just like the cultural way. It's just being an individual here is really hard, and they are just obeying the societal structures, societal rules, and they are not creating their own way. Mostly they are following the paths which have been walked already. For example, they are just staying in a same shape, in a same position, in a same job from morning to night till they are burned to death. And they are not complaining, and they are not trying to give any meaning, and they are not trying to give a highlight of their lives. Because the competition is really fierce here. And if you just lose your meaning, probably you also lose yourself. It is better, if you have a chance, if you have one opportunity, would you capture or let it slip? Oh, this mom's spaghetti, right? Right. Okay, but the situation is not same as usual. Mostly there are a bunch of human beings, right? The competition is a real high level of and mostly some people cannot catch this competition, and some people just going to suicide, and some people just being so sad, and they are just doing the self-isolation, and they are not trying to go to the outside, and they are not trying to go to talk with the others. And it's really understandable. There is no escaping from here. Everybody wants to try to escape from their personal views, or from their fears. You know, mostly it is really hard to escape from your fears. Maybe your traumas, maybe your childhood traumas, maybe you can remember it. If you had a very bad relationship, probably it's gonna tough. You don't have to you cannot go there, and you cannot recycle yourself. If you are a man if you are a broke man, if you are just loser, if you don't have enough money, probably girls don't going to take care of you. Mostly the men are just getting declared after the 25, rich or poor. If you are just going to the right side, like as I mentioned, the poor side, probably girls not going to interest with you. If you go to the left side, which is, I mean, the richest people, so people are going to just interest with you. If you are rich, if you are handsome, if you have the capital, if you have the resources, if you have a provider, probably mostly the people are going to just begging you, and people are going to ask help from you, and they are going to trust you, and they are giving a lot of meaning to you. But if you are not a provider, if you are just trying to getting provided by the others, mostly people not going to take care about you. If a man wanna be unique, probably he needs to just be a leader, and he needs to manage the other peoples as well. But it is not going to be easy peasy. Mostly your competition will gonna be fierce, and nobody in the end going to take care about you. You need to be alone, and you need to do the things alone. That's the reason why I hate mostly if you do the things alone, nobody is trying to back up you, and whenever you are walking in a path alone, mostly you feel like getting into a temper, and maybe you feel like you lost your way, you lost your path. When you are just seeing the people on the internet, they are getting more support, and they can do the things alone, and they are just looking like they are successful, but in the end they are not successful. They are trying to be successful, and they are looking like to be successful. It is so different things, being successful and trying to looking to be successful. If you are successful, it's okay. You don't have to prove yourself. If you are trying to look successful, you need to prove yourself. You need to show yourself. I am successful. I have a lot of degrees and I have a lot of certificates. I can do whatever I want. I have also just studied in some top school universities, even without a scholarship, even with my grandparents' money. It is up to you, brother. Even you just get a graduation from a top high school type universities, it doesn't give you any guarantee you can get a good job and you can get a good level of salary. So some people are going to eliminate. It's really hard, but it's really understandable. It's really truth of the life. Some people are going to get what they want. Some people are going to observe the situation, and some people are going to get eliminated by the others. So it is better to understand, it is better to accept it rather than just questioning, rather than just trying to change it. If you just try to change the system or try to change the ideas, mostly you are going to get hurt. You will be the only guy who going to get hurt. So you need to understand your station first before you're judging others, okay? Modern freedom is not real freedom, okay? Modern people believe they are freer than ever. It's really harder. In reality, freedom without direction often produces anxiety rather than fulfillment. We have infinite choices, but no guidance on what to choose. You know, you have a bunch of potential and you can watch a bunch of YouTubers and you can find a topic which you can just watch, you can just consume. But if you are just watching someone else, than me or than the others, mostly you losing someone who is going to create a YouTube videos. And if you do that, probably if other people's videos don't boom up, don't come up and don't get watched, probably they are going to stop to record YouTube videos. While some of them going to create the YouTube videos and the same content and they will try to be famous on the internet. So mostly when we are just like think like a yin and yang, if you are choosing some path, the other path is just getting vague and getting diminished. How can I say? For example, there's a pet here and look at this pet. There's a pet, someone else have walk already from this pet. If someone don't try to continue the walk from this pet, mostly it's going to be close and nobody will going to see this pet again. Because we are trying to open a new pet from here, like this things, or mostly we need to just go there or there. This pet will going to be missing and this path will going to be vanish from this universe. That's the reason why if you are choosing one path, the other path is getting vanished. So you need to understand which path you are going to follow, which path you are going to observe, which path you are going to get analyzed and get knowledge. You need to acknowledge this information first, because knowledge and the information are the two different things. You can knowledge and you can acknowledge something, but you cannot, the information doesn't give you a guarantee. It's something like a knowledge. The knowledge is like the real freedom and real sophistication and the real, how can I say, intellectual event. But something like information is not an intellectual. It is mostly just coming from and just like memorizing the things, memorizing the words, but not getting observing it or absorbing it, okay? You need to absorb that knowledge rather than just trying to memorize and trying to say it. If you just absorb the information, it's gonna be knowledge. If you don't absorb the information, if you just memorize the information, it's gonna be information. That's the two different things, observation and do the things in your real life rather than just saying the things, rather than just selling the sophistication knowledge on the internet. Mostly people are trying to create their own meaning and their own lives. The human mind wasn't designed for infinite possibility. It needs limits, structure, and commitment. Without them, freedom becomes a burden. People feel anxious, not because they lack freedom, but because they lack direction. Not everyone starting to race in a same line, okay? Some people trying to start a battle in front of you, and some people start a battle behind of you. Maybe you are going to first position, maybe someone going to last position. But if you're successful, if you have a passion, if you have a discipline, probably you can just pass other people's and you can just get the success and you can get an impact to others. Otherwise, you can impact from others. There's the two different things here. Maybe you can impact the people, you can influence the people, otherwise you will get influenced by others. So if you have a two chance, I will prefer to die trying while trying to influence people. Because if you don't do that, probably when you get trying to die, when you are just closing to death, when you are just drinking your last coffee, you will try to drink it and you will try to ask yourself, I didn't do anything meaningful in my life. So I am just going to pass away from this world like an ordinary man. So in the end, I will, if I have a chance to ask myself, it is better to die while being an extraordinary man rather than just trying to be a normal. So normal is, definition of a normal is changing. People to people, society to society, time to time, location to location, country to country. So mostly you need to analyze and understand what is the normal, what is the abnormal. In some cultures, just drinking a coffee like a tea is abnormal in Turkey. But if you are just going to Japan, if you just eat your food with just like snobbing your mouth like that, it is something like a normal in Japan. It means like you like this meal. If you do that in the Turkey in a restaurant, probably it means you don't like this meal. The meaning are also changing society to society, or cultural codes or cultural genetics are just coming from our past and or from ancestors. Like check about the Filipinos. The most of the Filipinos trying to work in the abroad. Why? Most of the Philippines are the very less developed country. We can just count it as a third class country, right? But because the most people in the Philippines trying to go to another country, trying to get more quality resources and trying to give the feeding to their families. But if you are a Filipino, if you are a Filipino girl, you're the best chance just getting married with a man who has American passport, USA passport, British passport, or the Germany passport, which I mean the first class country members. Or you can go to these countries. Even the Vietnamese people trying to go to the England and working illegally, and the mostly government understanding, or the England government, Germany government. Why? Most of these people, or the Japan, they are going to Japan, England, or just America in an illegal way, and after they arrive there, they are trying to give money to their parents, and they are trying to send money to their parents. Even they get married, if you are just getting married with a Thai girl or the Filipino girl, you need to understand, when you get married with this girl, probably this girl is going to just send money to her old boyfriend, even her old childhood friend. You need to understand, even they are trying to get married with you in order to just take care of their families, not for you, because you have the capital. And so the life is not meaningful and the life is not equal for everyone else. Some people trying to achieve something while their pockets while their hands in their pockets, and some people cannot achieve anything with just suffering a lot. Okay, I think life is not for everyone else. Everybody is trying to be famous. Everybody trying to achieve something on the social media or on the real life. For example, if we're not really successful enough, or families, or friends, or environment don't like us, mostly they are going to complain. You are something like others, and you are trying to create a new path, but it's something like an error card. You are so unnecessary. The things what you are trying to do is unmeaningful. Mostly they are just giving you unmeaningful instructions, and they are trying to let you down. Mostly you need to just hateful from others, and you need to create your own path, even it is hard, because you have only one chance in this life. Maybe you can achieve, maybe you cannot. But it is better to die trying. It is worth trying. In the end, everybody will going to pass away from this world, and some people will be just getting remembered, and they can just try to write their names to the history. Okay, some of the people, for example, I don't want to give an answer like that. For example, like a mumia. There was someone is a clerk working in a museum, and he just fucked a mumia, and he became popular, and he just give the history his name. But it is so different. Even the bad fame is a better fame, better not to having a fame. You know, some people have the big fame, bad fame. For example, like think about the porn stars, and they are living in Japan. Most of the people are criticizing the porn stars. They are very bad jobs, and mostly they are watching the porn while they are doing it. And it is really hard. Just if you are Turkish like me, just getting in the media is really hard, and some people can achieve that. If you are asking my opinion, if I have a chance, probably I will go to Japan, being a DJ and going to nightclubs. It is my life, and what is my expectation? And when I talk with the other people, it's not to give you a guarantee and you can do the things alone. So mostly people trying to get remembered by the others, and they are trying to record YouTube videos, they are trying to do the Instagram posts. Why? Because we want to get remembered by others, and we want to just give the inspiration to others in a good way. Mostly nobody wants to get remembered in a bad way, but I just feel like I didn't get any respect from the people, and I get used to this feeling. I'm not trying to get respect from the people, and I'm not trying to understand them either. Mostly I'm just trying to create my own path and my own life. Mostly people trying to ask and questioning about the life, whether we can just find a meaning or not. So if there is no meaning, is it equal and is it very good to create our own meaning? So the question is simple, the answer is simple also. It is better to create our own meaning rather than just waiting on a meaning. Maybe your life is really fucked up, maybe you don't like your job, maybe your just salary is not enough for living, but mostly we need to continue. Like think about the J.K. Rowling. Even she just published his first book, like the Philosophical Stone. I'm not sure if I'm not remembering it in this correct way. If I'm remembering correctly, he just published his first philosophical stone, but it didn't just popular in a one day. And mostly people criticized, and every publishment bookstore rejected her book. And then even in this situation, she continued to do that. Mostly the things which we can just connect with the life, even we just get down to the fail, even we fail 1 times, 2 times, 20 times, 60 times, 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. It's really a very great amount of times. We need to continue because we don't have any other choice. If you are a poor, your chance is less. If you are a middle, your chance is a bit. But if you are rich, you have more chance. But if you are poor, you need to just use your chance in a correct way, because you won't have any other chance. Mostly people trying to give the meaning to their lives, but mostly they need to understand what they can do, and they also need to understand their limits. So the part 3 is like work has replaced religion and failed. Work has become the primary source of identity in modern life. People are defined by what they do, how much they earn, and how productive they are. Work promises dignity, purpose, and belonging. So mostly when I'm asking someone else to their names, they are trying to give the occupation of theirs. For example, what's your name? I'm working as a dentist and my name is Sarah. Like, I didn't ask your occupation, but why are you trying to say your occupation? Do I need to just obey you? Do I need to just getting medical care from you? No, but they are asking their medical, they are just working in the medical industry like that. For example, if you just ask someone, what's your name? I'm Elena. But Elena didn't say didn't say her occupation, right? Elena, what are you doing for a living? Elena is just matching, I don't want to say. So if the Elena is something like that, maybe are you working as a hostel, or are you working in a brothel? Are you something like a karogör desu ka? Yeah, she said yes. Mostly, if you are working as a prostitute woman, it is not easy to say someone else. My occupation is I'm working as a prostitute woman, and I'm just selling myself to others. Is it very good way, and can you be proud of this? No. That's the reason why some occupations can be saying easily, but some of them cannot be saying in a very immediately. We cannot say the occupations on the spot. So the expectations are so different in the end. So modern work is abstract. You do not see what you built. You do not feel the outcome of your labor. Marx called his alienation. Yeah, Weber warned that work would become an iron cage When work loses meaning, it still demands loyalty. Burnout emerges not from laziness, but from trying to extract meaning from systems that cannot provide it. Work answers how much, but not why. When work replaces religion, it demands devotion without offering transcendence. Okay, mostly I was just watching a movie like something like the Wheelstone or a Wheelchair. I am not remembering, but it's something like a wheelchair. There was a guy. The movie was a very good movie, but I don't remember it correctly. But it was a very good movie in the end. There was just maybe I can just understand and trying to find this movie name, and I can just say it. There was a girl working as an IT. She was lesbian, and then she tried to answer the things to people. But she laid off because from IT, and when she laid off from her job, she trying to get the little amount of the salary, and she just seeing the situation as a holiday. So it is very understandable. If I had a chance to work as a in an IT job, probably I would also be happier. You know, you are working in an IT job, and you can do whatever you want, and you can just travel around the world. Was it good or bad? What's your opinion? I think my opinion is really good. Like, you can work in the IT industry and you can just do the things alone. Maybe I can remember if I'm just remembering correctly, but it's really tough just going to understand or just like going to history. But the name of the wheel, maybe I can understand, maybe I cannot. But the wheel Japan. The movie, but I'm not still remembering, guys. The mostly I wrote it because it was on my computer. No, it is not on my computer, brother. So it is better not to trying to highlight the situation. In that movie, like people trying to escape each other, I was just observing the action of the Japanese people, and they looks like a bit of shy. Mostly they are not shy, they are just hiding their real feelings. And there is something like honme tatamae. Honme means they are just trying to show their real faces, but tatamae means they are trying to role play. Even they are just showing them they are just smiling, they are just trying to be happy to you, but it is something like a lie in the end. Mostly Japanese people don't like the Middle Eastern people, and it is really tough. If you are just something like me, like working and just living in the Middle Eastern, like the Turkey, you are just living in a third-class country. And when you try to go to the South Korea or the Japan, like the first-class countries, you don't see as a human being, like because you are just coming from a low development of level country, and most people don't want to talk with you. It's very understandable. It's very normal because you are third-class country members here, so we cannot change it, brother. Even I just try to like a first class member. Even I have seen a girl from India, and she just get out of aesthetic surgery and she was looking like a white. Even she's trying to just hide their real identity, and she was something like a Korean beauty. Well, it is understandable. It's her life in the end. But what I am asking is, we cannot change our origin or real life, but we need to understand we also don't have to belong our origin. For example, my identification card is Turkish, but actually my ancestor from Bulgaria or Georgia. But mostly it is not understandable because I have an identification card, but I don't have to just resonate with the culture. The Turkish culture is a bit of complicated and something like a pressuring culture. I don't have to feel belong. Mostly sense of belonging is like something like a feeling is changing all around the world, all around the day. Mostly we cannot just trying to question and investigate it. The sense of belonging is an idea and it's changing all around the world. If your country is really powerless, it is better not to just feel belong, because after we doubt, nobody is going to take care of us, and nobody is trying to resonate us. Nobody is trying to understand. Yes, most of the culture affects, brother. And if your culture affects from different, it is better not to feel belong. And sometimes we can feel belong to other cultures because the norms, the traditions are so different. And some people trying to think like the other peoples. For example, in the Turkey, what the boss says, they are just accepting it as a rule. But in America, there is an individual system and they can question their boss, their employers. But in the Turkey, it is better not to question, just being silent and just obey the system, be a slave. We are mostly trying to be turned into the modern slaves, even we don't notice it. You need to create your own just like the own momentum. You need to create your own city. Maybe you need to create your own digital country in this world. Mostly some influencers, some YouTubers, and some content creators trying to create their own world. Mostly when we are creating content, when we are trying to write a book, we are just giving our resonations. We are giving our meanings to it. And we are just putting into our product to table. If you have a good level of product, probably your book can be read in everyone else. But if your production or your output is really shit, most of the people don't going to read it twice, or maybe they don't read it again and again. Mostly being famous is not easy, and you need to compete and you need to create meaning as said. But even I'm at this station trying to understand and trying to get used to this knowledge and trying to get used to this fucking bad things, okay? The bad things are just happening all around the world, all around the day. Even I try to make it not happen, it won't happen. Some people will going to get the pleasure and some people will going to best of their lives. Because of the capital, some people are going to work and some people are going to obey. It is better not to be obeying, and it is better create your own environment. So the one side is really hard because the competition. For example, I was watching the people from Dubai, and they are going to Dubai and they are trying to hang out with the beautiful girls, the beautiful mothers, and they are doing sex, etc. What the fuck I'm doing? I'm just watching the sky and trying to be a normal person here. So is it very disgusting, right? It is very not joyful. Mostly, if you are living in Turkey, you need to there's a societal pressure, and sometimes I was just seeking asylum. I was thinking like seeking asylum because this culture is not fit with me. Mostly, I sometimes not resonate myself to Turkey because the borders are really strict. And I really don't myself feel belong to Turkish culture. But what can I do? Because Turkey is not a very developed country and nobody likes Turks. I cannot change it. In the end, it is their choice and it is their option. So the pleasure has killed desire. Modern life offers constant pleasure, enjoyment, stimulation, dopamine. Yet, joy is rare. Desire requires distance. Pleasure removes distance. When everything is immediately available, nothing is worth longing for. Anticipation disappears. Struggle disappears. Without desire, love flatness. Pleasure numbs rather than fulfills. The more we consume, the less we feel. Meaning requires tension between effort and reward. Modern life erases that tension. Mostly, if you're asking my opinion, it is better to just defend the socialism. Whenever if I'm just trying to be famous on the internet, trying to get more trying to get more views, trying to get more fame, I think it's not really easy peasy because I'm just trying to compete with the others as well. And sometimes it's being so hard, and for some people it's going to be easier. So if you are going to think the situation from an easy way, it's understandable. If not. If you are asking my situation like everyone else, I have always wanted to dream of the life. But whenever I'm checking the people, mostly are the poor class working for the rich class. Mostly I'm not a very middle level I'm also poor, but I'm just asking the people, why the poor people need to work for others? If you're asking my opinion, I wouldn't want to work. I just think my house, just getting more fame and just trying to be a content creator, traveling around the world. But it didn't happen when I just compare myself, just watching the online content creators, more the fame people, they can travel around the world without any hesitation. But my situation is different from others. So I was just thinking about loyalty, equality, but the pleasure, okay? We are just consuming the pleasure a lot. The stimulation, dopamine, the joy is there, and mostly we are just trying to role play. Even we are not happy, we are trying to be happy. Even we are opening this TikTok, we are trying to scroll on the internet, and mostly we are trying to looking for some different kind of desires, some different kind of momentum. Even we cannot reach the dopamine, we are trying to reach the dopamine a lot, like just watching porn and maybe the watching the video play games, maybe playing the video games. Even you are maybe addicted to League of Legends, if you are losing the League of Legends game, probably you are going to do it again. But the competition is really fierce. If you are living in a low level of development country like the Turkey, the working hard is really hard, even like the Mexico. So the crime rates are really high. So people are asking the different kind of solutions. Mostly my mind is not here in Turkey. My mind is different countries. Yes, but my originally I'm living in Turkey. But this kind of, there's lack of intellectuality, the lack of science, the lack of happiness is here. Mostly people don't like their lives and they are trying to be happy. So it doesn't meaningful, just let it happen. What will happen will happen. This philosophy, it doesn't give you anything and any meaning. So if you just look the side from my point of view, I would also say that I would like to achieve something in my life, even if it's bad, even if it's good. So sometimes we are trying to be meaningful, but sometimes we are losing our meanings. While I'm just questioning about my situation, it's not being like a situation. It's something like a suffering and the gloomy weather. There are the gloomy weathers on the weather, like it is very gloomy. So I'm asking myself, what I'm gonna do with this gloomy heaven and gloomy weather? Just, is it worth trying to understand? Is it worth trying to be here? Mostly my life is not fulfilled of the enjoyment. Mostly my life is fulfilled of the, like, how can I say, like the fulfillment of the suffering. I have tried to just pass this feeling, surpass this feeling, but I couldn't do that. Mostly my life wasn't the life what I expected before. So the law became a transaction, as I mentioned that before. Law has been transferred into a marketplace. Profiles replace brands and choice replace commitment. People are evaluated like products. Modern culture avoids vulnerability while craving intimacy. But intimacy requires exposure, risk, and dependence. Love becomes disposable because commitment is seen as limitation. When love is treated as optimization, it loses depth. Meaningful relationships require patience and sacrifice. Qualities modern system discourage. Okay, if you're asking my opinion, if I have more much money, I wouldn't get married. I would get girlfriend. I would get intercourse with a lot of girls. Why? It is better to not to get married, brother. Even when you getting married, there's a potential to get chat, but it is better to be a girlfriend. Okay. Is it better to get a lot of girlfriend? Not. But if I had the money, probably will I get a more girlfriend? Yes. I cannot just deny it, brother. It's a dependent situation, but maybe hard potential, because we are living the lives in a once time. So it is better not to think after what will happen with that after we're just losing its meaning. So it is better to living at the moment. If you have a chance, it is better to live at the moment rather than just trying to future. Or I'm not saying that don't think about the future and stay in the moment. Mostly we are just preparing the future from now. Now is better, but it's not everything. It's not declares everything else. Maybe you can die, maybe you can get a traffic jam, and maybe you can just die in a traffic jam. So it doesn't mean that. It doesn't give you a guarantee what will happen. But the potential, the environment declares what you can achieve, what you can do. The possibilities are changing. Most of your country, if it's poor, I think the asylum is a human right, and asylum is something like a salvation. Most we are not choosing our countries as well. And we don't have to feel belong. If I have a chance, probably I would like to immigrate to another country, like the first-class countries. Nobody wants to deny it. And even I want, as an immigrant, nobody likes it. It is a culture I want. Okay, I have born here, but I don't have to think here. Why? Because I'm not a soldier, I'm not a police. In the end, if you are just working, just country, okay. But if this country doesn't give you anything, it doesn't mean that you can just work and you can live for this country. Because mostly the countries will be passed away. Their names will be erased after the 200 or 300 years later. So it is better to understand the situation rather than judging. So the other things I want to mention, we lost suffering and with it meaning. Suffering once shaped identity. Today it is avoided at all costs, but a life without struggle is shallow. Nietzsche understood this. Frankl understood this. Meaning emerged not from comfort, but from confrontation. Avoiding pain avoids depth. Modern life numbs rather than challenge. Without challenge, character weakens. Without character, meaning collapse. So Is it better to create our own meanings or our desires or our expectations from the lives? So I'm asking myself, what is the good, what is the bad? Every time there are good sides or there are bad sides. But it is better to focus on the good sides, because what we can do is focus on our lives before we lose it. Some people will have a good life, some people will have less opportunity. If I had the opportunity like the other one else, we are trying to achieve our dreams. Everyone has a dream in the end, right? Some people get a good life, some people get a good wife, some people get a good level of salary job. Maybe some people want to travel around the world, be a travel influencer like I have dreamed before. But I couldn't make my dream come true, therefore I'm just complaining about the situation a lot, and I'm just defending my rights here. But it is what it is. We cannot change it quickly, on spot or immediately. So it is better to get used and analyze and accustomed with that. Our situations are changing, but people are staying in their essence. The essence is the important thing which we want to defend, which we want to take care. The essence is declares the people, the essence declares the individuals. Because of their essence, their limitations are so different. Maybe class structures, maybe their essence. It depends on the situation, it depends on the formulation. Right? Right.
So the last 10 minutes, I'm going to continue in my house. Why you are asking, I'm just continuing in my house rather than just outside. The answer is simple, because, how can I say, I was just working and I was just waiting a bus after just finishing my job. I was just working as an officer. However, as I mentioned that before, it's not for me job. It's not fit this job for me. Like this job doesn't fit with me. That's the reason why I'm just started a YouTube channel and just trying to get more followers, get more views. But it's not easy peasy, as I mentioned it before. Just identity is no longer stable. Identity is used to be inherited. No, it is performed. People remind themselves constantly exhausted by compression and self-surveillance. When identity is unstable, meaning cannot enter, people feel fragmented, anxious, and frightened. You cannot build meaning on a moving foundation. Well, as I mentioned that when we are just speaking a girl, you can think like, if she's not beautiful enough, you wouldn't like to talk with her, right? You wouldn't like to be friends with her. That's the easy, you wouldn't like to be friends with her. Exactly, it is the meaningful and it is the understandable topic here. Mostly that is not just unexpected here. Mostly, whenever we're just creating the meaning, I'm just also losing my meaning as well. Mostly, I'm trying just to be unique, but it's not easy peasy. Whenever I'm just watching the Instagram, people are trying to get more views, trying to get more influence other people. So I think it's a very good concept here. People trying to create concepts and other people trying to obey it. And mostly people replacing the concept and trying to get more views is understandable. It's a very good thing. But mostly, whenever I'm just thinking myself, it's really hard for me just competing with the others, creating new content, and being the famous on the internet is not easy peasy, and it's not what I want to do. So mostly this greatness and being famous, being unique is not easy, because you need to compare it with the others as well. So the technology replaced silence. Silence forces reflection, reflection forces existential questions. Technology prevents both. Noise fills every moment. Distraction becomes survival. But meaning requires stillness. A life without silence avoids the very questions that give life depth. So here the question is, if you don't happy in where you are, and if you don't like yourself, and if you are thinking yourself as a failure, you need to just check the other people's life. And there will be some people better than you, and there will be some people intelligent than you. But some people will going to suffer, and there will be some low IQ people around the world, and when you don't support it. So it is better not to compete with them. If you don't like where you're at now, try to change, try to understand, try to acknowledge first, and then you have a chance to change. For example, I have a Turkish passport. It's not very strong or it's not powerful passport. So it is hard for me to go around the world just trying to make new things and affect the people. So mostly I feel like under the pressure, mostly the job pressure, the family pressure. If you don't earn enough money when you're just coming to house, mostly you will be not a meaningful boy or not a meaningful girl in the house. If you are not making enough money, if you are not earning enough money, society will going to discriminate you and people are going to expel you from society. If you are poor, most you will get judged. If you are famous, if you are just rich, mostly people are going to show respect you. So the things I want to mention, I want to say it. Rome wasn't built in a one day, right? Mostly people trying to build themselves when we are just getting affected by the others. It's really understandable. If you are checking about my situation, I'm also jealous of the other people. It's really understandable and it's very normal. There is no extraordinary situation here. I have always wanted to go to the clubs, just going to Roppongi, Shinjuku, Shibuya, and this kind of streets. I have always wanted to be a street interviewer, but I couldn't do that. Why? Because even I just wanted to go to Japan, I wouldn't have enough money for that. Just I'm living in Turkey, the inflation is really skyrocketed here, and mostly I'm just watching the Japanese movies, Japanese dramas. I'm really get effect of it, so I feel very sad because of I couldn't go there, and I'm trying my best here. But it is not a very easy peasy in the end, and people trying to find meaning to escape. If you are living in a third-class country or underdeveloped countries, you need to just find a meaning for survive. Not only what you need, but only you have to do that. I have always wanted to travel around the world, just getting on a plane and just going to countries which I didn't explore before. But not everyone can capable of do that. If you are living in the India or low development of level country, mostly you won't have any chance to do that. And when you are just checking the other people's life, you'll be very sad because some people are trying to achieve something in their lives while you cannot. So you are going to just turn back yourself and you are going to question about yourself. Why I cannot be successful like others? For example, you are recording a YouTube videos, right? Maybe you are getting 200 views or 300 views. Maybe someday you can get 1,000 views. But it still doesn't enough, right? Rio Hama, Zoya Languages, and PewDiePie, they are getting the 1 million watch. And that's the reason why you cannot compete with them. So the thing is, what you do now, it is not it is. So your dream, your like the lacking skills, your meaningful life, there is nothing going to survive you, and nobody will come up to survive, and nobody will going to come up and save you. So the thing is, you need to just express, and you need to just surpass your limits, and you need to make yourself come true. Nobody will going to help you. That's the sad side of the life. If you're just trying to just help to yourself or help to others, it is meaningless because you are alone, like all the times. And when you are just starting a business, just creating a new life, just getting married, just building, just making a baby, you will be alone. Nobody will going to be with you when you are suffering, when you are getting into the debt, when you have an inflation crisis, when you are living in an inflation crisis country, when you're in a war, when you're starving, nobody will come up and save you. That's the sad side of the society. The society mostly appreciating the people who can achieve something in their life and who can be successful. But mostly it is not a very logical topic. We are trying to express ourselves. We are just want to surpass our limits. And not everyone can capable of it. If you are a man, you need to struggle more than the girls. The girls don't have to struggle more because they can turn back their ass and they can get the money. It's the easy job for them. But as a man, if you don't want to just turn back your ass and get the money, mostly you need to do the things alone and you need to achieve something and you need to be unique. So mostly people trying to ask questions, what we can do, what we can achieve. And mostly this question doesn't give an answer and we cannot find a solution for it. So it's also understandable. Mostly we try, we achieve, we success. If you couldn't success in the end, you can say yourself, at least I have tried. I tried so hard, got it so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Got so far. Ultra up, you know this Chester? Rick for the Chester, I'm really sad for him. But the thing is, what we cannot change, what we can just turn the other sides, we need to continue to live with any circumstance, with any situation, because we have only one life. And it is better not to waste it. So we're suffering, we think, we try, we achieve, we love, we pay, we happy, we sad. Whenever you feel, whenever you understand, whenever you acknowledge, you need to understand you'll be with yourself, not others. You merely should need to interest with yourself and try to be happy when you can stay alone. If you cannot find peace when you are alone, mostly you wouldn't be happy with the others. If you try to be happy by yourself, it is better not to speak with the others. You can be happy by yourself in the end. So to get the success is not easy peasy, as I mentioned that before, because you need to compete and you need to get it. Even you don't want it, even you just get into the trouble with that. So the one recommendation by me is whatever it takes, whenever it dies, whenever it talks, you need to continue, because you have only one's life and you have only one's chance. It is better not let it slip. If you just try to continue, catch the meaning, or create the meaning, you wouldn't be able to do that. So it is better to stick your meaning and just create new paths as soon as possible, as much as you can. Okay? The part 9, why nihilism feels honest. Nihilism removes false meaning. That is why it feels honest, but it offers no replacement. Even you just prefer to be anarchist, after you just discriminate or just like the other, destroy the order. You need to create new order. You need to create a new lifestyle. You need to create a rebuild the system. If you just destroy the system, it's understandable as an anarchist, but after you destroy the system, you need to create a new one. If you're able to do that, just got it. If you cannot, it's hard. Like the Joker. Joker can just destroy the system, but he doesn't think that, how can I create a new system? That's the two different things here. Nihilism is a clearing, not a home. It destroys illusions, but it doesn't build values. Staying there leads to apathy. Got it. The part 10, meaning is not found, it is built. Life doesn't come with inherent meaning, but it allows meaning to be constructed. True responsibility, commitment, and chosen values. Meaning is not happiness, it is direction. It is saying it is matters and accepting the cost. Life is not meaningless, it is unfinished. So it is also understandable if the life isn't unfinished, so we can just judge ourselves and we can judge the others and we can discriminate everyone else. So it is also normal. There is nothing extraordinary situation here. But if we blame others, if we try to be greedy, it won't help you anything, only chaos. So the thing you can do is accept the situation, accept yourself, and then you can continue to live with a peaceful life. If I had a chance, I would like to live in Japan with a peaceful life, or the Taiwan or the Germany. I would like to get married with a girl from there. It would be very beneficial for me, but still I couldn't do that. So am I sad? Yeah, but can I change it? No. So what should I do? Just let's continue. Is there any chance other? No. So it is better to stay silent and just continue as much as I can, as soon as possible I can. Thank you for watching me till now. See you on next video. My last word is the meaning, which is we create like the V for Vendetta, like the 5 October, November. Like you remember 5 November, right? For V for Vendetta, even this event didn't be successful, but still it is remaining, right? Even someone else can start a rebellion for the government. They couldn't bomb the government building. Maybe one day they can do. It is something like an example of the societal disobeying the rules. Yeah. So it is very important, the 5 November. You should remember it. Everybody's remembering, right? Everybody knows. Wear the mask or something like. So thank you for watching until now. See you on next video. Thank you for watching until now. As I mentioned that before, you can give it a like, subscription, and comment. I hope I can go to Japan, Shibuya, and I can be a street interviewer there. But I need money and I need more collaboration. So thank you very much. If I can make my dream come true, I will be happier than ever.